In this GetFlipped Academy video, learn a basic Photoshop procedure to output your keepsake components as an animated GIF. Hi, Eugene here. Thanks for watching. This video is for all the keepsake builders out there in the GetFlipped creative community. You use GetFlipped Pro Studio to produce lenticular keepsake photo flip cards. So, how would you prepare a preview of your work before actually going through the steps of composing, printing, and mounting? An animated GIF is one way to provide a simulation. GIF stands for Graphics Interchange Format, and as a file type, it's been around since the start of the internet. The format is small in size, supports animation, and is easy to email or share on the web. There are a number of ways to prepare a keepsake before you bring everything into GetFlipped Pro Studio. Photoshop, of course, is a popular choice because of its power and versatility. In this video, I'm using Photoshop Creative Suite 6, otherwise known as Photoshop CS6. The steps I'm outlining here are specifically for the CS6 environment, but the steps will be similar in other versions of Photoshop. Let's get started. First of all, let's review my Photoshop file. As you can see, I've already completed my layout work. This keepsake is about the musical passion of GetFlipped creator Rick Corrales. Most people don't know that in addition to being passionate about photography, Rick was also passionate about music. This keepsake brings attention to that with the help of some photos from Rick's archives. You can see here I've already spent some time organizing all the components for this flip keepsake. I've got my A and B elements organized in the Photoshop Layers palette as groups, noted by the folder icons. These A and B Photoshop groups correspond to how I will set up my A and B elements later in GetFlipped Pro Studio. I've also paid attention to the way this image will bleed and be trimmed by the finishing punch press. My guides here show me the layout area that is within the boundaries of the punch. The resulting two-image flip, as you can see, is meant to give a sense of how Rick's creativity was not limited to photography. Not only can we export these elements from Photoshop for use in GetFlipped Pro Studio, we can also prepare them in Photoshop as a GIF animation, one that will simulate the effect of our final product, the lenticular photo flip card. Essentially, this animation will give us a sense of what the resulting photo flip card would look like. It's important to note that a GIF produced at this point is a simulation and not a proof. It will be pretty close given that it's portraying actual artwork, and this might be all you need to get the approval to continue your work. To build the animation, mouse your way to Photoshop's Window menu, and in the menu drop-down, select Timeline. The timeline window will appear along the bottom of Photoshop. You'll notice the timeline lists your elements in the same way that your Layers palette lists them, configuring the timeline to make an animated GIF that displays one image and then the other is pretty simple. Here's how. Make sure the overall timeline ends at 2 seconds by dragging the timeline endpoint marker to the 2-second mark. We're using 2 seconds as our animation time frame because we don't need this animation to display each of our two images for more than 1 second. Set the timeline playhead to the 1 second mark because that's where we want image group A to end and image group B to begin. With the playhead at the 1 second mark, use the mouse to click and drag the endpoint of each element in group A to the playhead so that the elements readjust their endpoints to the 1 second mark. In group B, click and drag the start points of each element to the playhead so that the elements readjust their start points to the 1 second mark. Preview setups by setting the playhead to the start of the timeline, then click the play button. The result, as you can see, is a simulated flip from image group A to image group B. This looks good. So let's generate the GIF. In Photoshop's File menu, choose Save for Web. A dialog box opens, and here we get to assign a few settings to make sure the animation works properly. The important settings are File Format. Let's set this to GIF. And Animation Looping Options. Let's set this to Forever. That way, once the simulated flip completes its 2-second cycle, it will repeat. These settings ensure our output will be a GIF file that loops its content as we have arranged it in the Photoshop timeline over and over. To generate the output file, click Save. And voila! Our animated GIF, ready to email or post to the web. Thanks for watching, and happy animating!